right, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How we doing out there? Hope you're having a good day. We were just talking about a movie. It's called Whiplash. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but if you know the Farmers Insurance guy, you kind of like him during the commercial. You'll hate the guy if you watch Whiplash. Kind of a fun movie to watch. Anyways, welcome to the Closing Beat. We're going to do a sort of an abbreviated one today, I'm told, because I promised you I would do Q&A. So let me just go through a few things with you here. We'll take a look. Also, check your bank account. Stimulus checks are hitting today. I don't know if you whether you agree or disagree. I guess stimulus checks are getting out there. I heard from a few people today that theirs have already shown up. So enjoy. I hope it helps. We'll see what happens. Hey, let's look at the stock market here today. Off to the right-hand side of your screen, slight gain. Yesterday, slight loss. Yesterday, slight gain. Very typical this time of year. Volume is very, very low. If we go over and look at the actual S&P here, well, I'm going to start with the Russell. So we're going to start with the Russell 2000, and I'll just briefly go through a lot of this stuff. This was your leader today. Puts the IWM up about 20% for the year after being down 40%. Blows my mind. A lot of that's happened in the last quarter here, of course. It was an across-the-board rally if you were to look. Value performed well today. That was your best performing area. The index performed 1%. Small cap growth 1.1%. And not to brag, but I'm going to brag, but our small cap fund is actually beating the Russell by 2 times there. It was a great little performer there. We did a class actually over the summer. If you don't know, we do classes every Thursday for customers. We did a class over the summer to say, all right, we're in a recession, technically. So what area or what stocks are the first to come out of a recession? And if that's the case, should we not be looking over there a little bit? And thanks to that move, we actually had really, really good performance there. So I don't talk about that a lot because it's just like, it's going to be what it's going to be, but it did really, really well there. One thing I want to point out, remember our valuation talk, though, on Monday, where we talked about the Russell being overvalued at this point. We talked about the companies that have profits expected for next year, those that do not, and kind of where that puts the Russell. It is overvalued here, so a pullback would not be out of the question or not welcome. If you look at the Dow here, faded later in the day, but you got Disney, Visa, and Caterpillar, your biggest contributors on the day. We'll give you a Disney stat here. I'll try to think of something because that is the deal. Oh my God, pressure now. Do I have something? I'll try to focus for a second, but those were your biggest contributors. Your tech leaders today, those were the weak areas. Not bad, just Microsoft down 1% today. Apple in the Dow down a little bit. That's just pulling back. We talked about that yesterday, not a big deal there. Year to date, the Dow is going to come in last place if everything stays the same between now and tomorrow. Out of the 4 major indices there with a 7% gain. We look at the S&P 500, your FANG stocks. Those were your biggest drags today. In fact, they almost all go in order. Facebook down on the day. We already talked about Apple. I'll skip some of these. Just Netflix, you get the idea. Alphabet also lower on the day. FANG across the board just had the weekday. Your tech stock leaders, aside from Tesla, were the bigger ones there. We can say now Tesla was your biggest contributor in the S&P today, because you now know Tesla is in the S&P. So very good day there. New 52-week highs as well. Continues to move on. MasterCard, Visa, those were also some big gainers in the S&P, big contributors coming in second, third, and fourth place. Disney as well. The S&P 500 for the year currently up 15.8% year to date. Now, hang with me for a second. If you had to bet on tomorrow, what would you bet? Tomorrow's going to be up or down? I'll give you the answer. You would bet on tomorrow being down. Not many of us are going to make that bet, but even though it doesn't seem like the momentum is to the downside, well, the last day of the year is historically negative. Just a small decline there if you look back over the last 20 years. If you're a research member, you can actually go to our research site, and we did a post on this to show the average performance of every single day in the stock market to get a feel for where the weakness is. When does the stock market tend to have these little pushes higher? When does it tend to be a little bit weaker during the months and the days and things like that? Just a fun way to break it down there. And one thing you'll notice is the last day of the year is historically negative. So that's one thing. Also, one little bit of a lesson here. I give you a lesson, so you hit the subscribe button. You know how I do it. If you were to look at the actual distributions of returns in the S&P 500, you are twice as likely to be up 10 to 15% than to be up 15 to 20%. So if you had to bet on anything, those are 2 metrics, although obviously could be proven wrong, but 2 metrics that may push the markets a little bit lower tomorrow, which would be the last full day of 2020. Thank goodness, right? So So we're up, the S&P is up 15.8% at the moment, so we fall into this category, and although that does happen from time to time, statistically, it is more likely that we have a 10 to 15% gain. Just for fun. Let's see what happens. We'll come back and talk about that tomorrow. We've also got some FinTips videos for you. I won't go through them, but they're in the bottom right-hand corner of your page there. Next week, our Wine and Wealth class is actually going to be on an HSA to IRA or IRA to HSA trick that you can do that not a lot of people know about that will help you when you maybe at times have higher medical expenses and things like that. So we'll cover all of that. And the research site we've already talked about. Remember, you control the membership. This is no joke. We don't mess around. If we did mess around, it is highly likely that you would see people commenting on that in the various areas that you can comment online, because you can't get away with anything. Got to do right by people these days. Real quickly, I'll look at the sector breakdown here for you. I'll point out energy, a little bit of a gain today. If you're looking at energy, maybe for next year, we talked about that yesterday, the performance, you also have a very interesting technical pattern, the golden cross. When the 50-day moving average goes above the 200-day moving average, that is known as a golden cross. In fact, that happened overnight, going from one day to the other. That breaks the record for the longest time the 50-day moving average has been under the 200-day in day terms. 537 days it's been since we've crossed above there. That breaks the record for 2016. The previous record was 389 days. Now, more importantly, if you like stocks, you're going to notice that there's a lot of stocks doing the same thing or very close to doing the same thing. Look at ConocoPhillips, almost up to the death cross. Apache, golden cross. Apache giving you the golden cross there as well. Chevron, very, very close. Occidental Petroleum is another one that just broke above there, would have been yesterday. So I'm not saying that this is a technical pattern that you would go and run and buy all this stuff. It's just rather interesting, and it's a reason that people like to go buy stocks. If people are going to buy stocks, I mean, maybe you see a little bit of a boost. Wouldn't you want to participate or play along there? So just a quick little overview of that. We can maybe expand on that next week or tomorrow. You've got tech down here at the bottom. It was a flip-flop from one day to the other. So you had energy has been weak, tech's been strong. Today we just flip-flopped that a little bit. We're about 41% gains on the year. Let's go over here to tech. I'll just give you the 1 year close enough. You're going to see about a 40% gain overall. Last year we gained 48%. So you go, all right, 41%, 48%. Is that odd to have back-to-back or consecutive 40% gains? Yeah, actually that is pretty odd. Only one other time in history we did at a 2 year in a row gain of greater than 40%. It was actually greater than 70% if you look back to 1998 and 1999. What's interesting about that is if you go forward, for the next 3 years, you had some pretty significant losses. It was like 35% in 2000. You had over 25% in 2001, and then it was nasty again in 2002. I'm not saying anything's going to happen here, but that's kind of interesting if you want to take a look at some of those things. If we look in the tech sector, go back 1 year here, let's look at the returns. There are some really impressive returns here. In fact, if you did not have tech stocks, you just did not perform this year. NVIDIA, 122%, PayPal, 111%. AMD used to be a $20 stock. I remember teaching Chinese people in Singapore how to day trade, and we used to day trade AMD a lot. It was a $20 stock that had good movement. It's no longer 20 bucks. It's almost $100 there. So rather interesting there. The biggest contributors, by the way, are going to be, let's just go back 1 year. Here's your biggest contributors. Apple, Microsoft, naturally you've seen some of these come up over the years. Then you've got a lot of semiconductors in there. Look at some of the semiconductors in your top contributors there. It has been an area that has been really strong, especially in the last quarter, if you want to take a look at those types of things there. Because I did it, would you mind if I do the new highs here real quick? I'll go real quick, but I put in some new highs, and I just want to cover them because they were kind of interesting. We talked about this earlier in the week, that if you were going to trade this week, not invest, I know we're long-term investors here, but I know a lot of you trade. We talked on Monday about if you're going to be a trader this week, you want to stick with the momentum stocks that started off the week strong. Disney was one of them, and that did continue throughout the week in terms of being strong. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Global Payments here. These were both names that we talked about on Monday. It also hit new 52-week highs today. One that was interesting that I missed actually was Freeport-McMoRan. A little base pattern here at highs that broke out today. Very strong day. That's the biggest gainer on the list overall. We talked about SVB Bank, right? Remember this one, the momentum on that one. We talked about this one earlier in the week on Monday as well. Oh no, this was last Tuesday. We talked about this last Tuesday there. And then you had some of the semiconductors, Broadcom standing out there. You also had a gamer Take-Two also performed well on the day. You're looking for those names to continue to be strong for the rest of the week. And I'm going to owe you a Disney fun fact or secret. Well, I'll tell you what. I got one, but I'm gonna not give you the whole thing because one day we may take Cody to Disney. He's never been. He doesn't seem to have an interest in it, and I don't want him to beat me on this. But there's a ride there. It's called Buzz Lightyear's ride. You sit in a cart with somebody else, and you turn the cart and you shoot the lasers and you try to take out. There's a whole theme. Read about the theme. It's a really cool theme. Most people miss it. In the game, what? Talking smack already? So in the game, most people go pew, 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 and they just try to shoot everything, right? The goal is to get to 999,999 points. You can't go any higher than that. If you do, you get a special prize. Actually, anything over 900,000, you show them a picture, the cast member, and they give you a prize. I'll hold back the prize as well. I'll let you guess on the prize. Anyways, if you want to win, here's one of the keys. I'll tell you where there's a 100,000 point thing. There's a couple of these throughout the ride. You first go into this area where it's a practice area. You take a couple shots, really take a moment to get good at shooting, learn about your gun and everything, right? Because the next scene that you go into has this big, like globby looking alien guy, and he raises up his arms. Everybody shoots on the arms and they shoot around it. Shoot under his arms. There's a little Z that sticks out. If you shoot that, it'll go away. There'll be another one that pops up. Hit that, you get 100,000 points. That's the one I always go for. It puts you right on the board, kicking everybody's butt. And the other tip I think would be, this is going to hurt me when we go, be the person that moves the cart. You know what I mean? Only one person can control the cart. Control the cart and do the shooting. You're guaranteed to do really well. All right, let's take some questions here. I'll keep the other 100,000ers for myself, and we'll have maybe a competition one day. But that's what you got there. Let's let's take a look and see what you've got there. Yeah, he says he has been to Disney, but it's been a long time, and he didn't really remember. Yeah, it must not have been a good time. I don't see how it happens, but it's what happens. Yeah, we put the jazz belt on the line. Actually, it's technically not ours. We haven't conceded yet, but the jazz belt is not in possession of me, Charlie, or Cody at the moment, but we'll see. What do you like, growth or value? Well, I think you got to be specific. You got to go down into either large cap, small cap, or mid cap. I like the idea of small cap pulling back and then looking for more small cap growth and small cap value plays. That's where I would focus. Not now. I would be patient going into the new year, and that's what I would look for there. Yep. Oh, we still messing with that one? Yeah. So, no, I don't think that this Luckin does recover much. They've got a long way to go. Granted, it's a penny stock, so small moves make a big difference here. Your term or definition of recovery could mean a $2 move or something. So it's not one I would mess with there. Yep. Question for the HSA session. Can you contribute the maximum if you retire early in a year? It's a good question. That same thing could go true for what happens if you retire in February and you have a 401k, or you retire in March and you have a Roth IRA or traditional IRA? The short answer is yes, but yeah, we could expand on that. You like your Disney Plus there? I haven't tried it yet, to be honest. I haven't tried it. I'm not one of the, what about 200 million people that has it there? That's crazy. Looking at VST, hopefully waking up. Let's go over here to the chart. So you've got VST been dead money for quite a while. So this is very common with a lot of these stocks in this category here. They've just been dead money. You like the last couple days? I don't know. You know, that little reversal there. It teased you before and was trying to wake up and nothing happened. Hopefully this can be the case. I don't like that we're going into a volatile time of the new year, so that may weigh on it. I think for me, there'd be no reason to say this is the time that it wakes up. I think this would be the time that you maybe hope that it wakes up and wait for the uptrend to start before you do anything there. You like your crypto there? Huge day for crypto, by the way. That's called a parabolic move. This is the Bitcoin futures contract nearing 30,000. It had a 2,000 point gain just today. You know how I say it. They don't like to be extended. This is very extended. This is a lot of that sort of hype trading, tulip mania kind of stuff. In the short term, I'm not bashing crypto by any means, but in the short term, it's a little bit of a mania type environment there. Old Doc's worried about the NASDAQ dropping. Can I call you Doc from now on? You change your name like every day, so I think it's fair, right? I should be able to call you Doc. It's clear you want to be called Doc. I see your Disney comment there. Hey, Dustin, how come there was no sell-off on the Russia hack, and how come no one is talking about it? Do you think this would be a potential black swan? No, I don't. I do not. You have basically that in the rearview mirror, right? Kind of shocking to me too, but just kind of in the rearview mirror, we're all moving forward somehow. Like, yeah, and you just hope that what it is we're just quietly getting revenge, and we don't need to know about it or something. But whoa, yeah. Solar edge for next year, since we're going to have a Democratic leadership possibly pushing solar. Yeah, it's you've already had that run up, so it's the buy the rumor, sell the news type event there. Solar edge, you can look at any of these. You can look at the TAN, the solar ETF. They've all had amazing moves on what is a presumptive Biden presidency there, so you have to assume that that's what everybody's trading on. Very, very extended. This is another one where you hope maybe in the first quarter you could get a pullback where people believe that he's not going to focus on green energy for a while. I don't know how that's possible, but maybe there's a belief or a temporary like rug pull there that you could get excited about buying the dip. I'm not sure. Yeah. I know. You know what? I've never even seen Star Wars. I've seen none of the Star Wars. I don't know. It's what it is. It's one of those movies that me and the missus keep saying, okay, when we get bored, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch the first one, then we're going to watch the second one, and so on. Don't waste your time? Oh, man. Hey, coming up, by the way, we're going to have Cody on camera with the mic so he can interject with comments like that. He says, don't waste your time with the Star Wars there. Really? Tell you what, that Star Wars ride, Hollywood Studios, no joke. That's no joke. I got up early for that, too. I was up at like 6:30. Well, I did it. You all know, or he knows, I don't get up early. It takes a lot to get me up early. You like opinions on TLT. You like bullish TLT there. Well, all right, so you got a lot of stuff going on if you're going to look at TLT. It's one of the more complex areas to look. If we're just going to be, for now, right? But if we're just going to be technical in nature, you have a lot of good things going for you. So the downtrend here has all but stopped, right? It's just basically been sideways here since November. You like that support developing around 155. Now the key here is, do you want to be the person that bets on this being the low, or do you want to wait for the low and then hop on that next trend? Think about this over here. So if we look over here, you got a downtrend that accelerated. Could you have guessed somewhere near the low? Probably, if you recognize when things get extended, they like to bounce and all that. But it's very unlikely you would have guessed the bottom or somehow caught what appeared to be a falling knife. Easily could have fallen like this, right? So one of the things you can do is take a shot, take a guess, or the other thing is just let it bounce, show that other people are interested, and look to buy a pullback. Notice how you didn't miss anything, even if you had to catch the second pullback. I believe that would be the same case here because the TLT related to long-term bond, of course, it's not a fast mover. You're not going to wake up and see this thing take off like a Tesla or something because of the nature of what its underlying products. So in this case, why don't you just let it go, right? Feel like you missed it for a while, catch the next pullback or the one after that. Maybe by then there's some clarity in the general economic environment, although that's asking a lot. Yeah. Is it better to do the backdoor Roth conversion at the end or the beginning of the year? In my opinion, it's best to do the conversion before you start investing the dollars. So let's assume you're under 50, you've got a $6,000 deposit. Before that money's invested, convert it then. Then you don't have to account for the gains or the losses. If you're dollar cost averaging throughout the year, it's not horrible, but then when you get to the end of the year, you might have to account for gains or losses. Gets to be a little bit sloppy there, especially if you're doing it every year. So if possible, convert before you invest. Doesn't matter what time of year that is. Just that would be what I would talk about. Yep. Oh, you like your Chewy. Yeah, so Chewy, a little bit out of favor. A lot of these stocks that had been extended did pull back here. I don't think there's any rush to get into it. You'll notice that whenever a stock gets extended and then pulls back, you don't buy the first pullback. And by extended, I mean parabolic. So when Bitcoin pulls back, that first drop, you don't try to buy that first drop because you're not going to likely generate anything of interest. Great way to look at that would be maybe the last time it got a little extended. So you've got this parabolic move, it pulled back, you didn't miss anything. Not only did you not guess the bottom there was a new low, and then what? Nothing for a while. It took a long time for it to get going. I would bet you the same thing happens here and likely with Bitcoin as well. Yep. Oh yeah. No. Electric car lead there, get rid of gas and all that. I need a few more charging stations, right? Be a bit of a monopoly there for old Tesla. I know Harry would like that. Well, Happy New Year, Doc. Thank you for watching and being so supportive this year. Thank you to all of you, actually, who are here every day and watch live and contribute and stuff. I know sometimes it's hard to keep up, but I appreciate the support, of course. It's hard to get even one person watching, so I do appreciate that. Yep. I think there's a lot of good things. Mr. Andrews is asking about the, we call them goofy stocks around here, so YouTube doesn't figure out what we're talking about and block our videos. So I think there's a lot of positivity surrounding those stocks. The issue right now is supply. There is so much, it's just a pure commodity, right? There's so much supply of that. You'd have to see a wave of legalization so quickly across the board where the demand could suck up a lot of the supply and we could get back to sort of a monitored inventory. Happens in every business. Have you ever noticed, like when you go to Dick's Sporting Goods or something and you want to buy a fishing rod, they're always about the same price as anywhere else. That's because the manufacturer says you cannot sell this product for any less. Go buy a trolling motor or fishing lures and stuff. You cannot buy it for anything less than it is. That's supply and demand right there. Supreme is known for doing really well with that. They'll do the same with the Goofy product. And so it's just going to take time for everybody to get on board with that. Call it price fixing, call it what you like, but it is, this is what would happen there. Yep. Why are you always wearing a sweatshirt, man? It's the temperature in this office. Like 75 in here. I feel good. I'm nice and cozy here. But hopefully it doesn't get cold because I've only got the one, right? So I'm kind of scary if it's cold for more than a couple days. Yep. I love it. Well, Happy New Year to all you guys as well. Thank you so much for the support. We'll wrap it up there. We're going to come back tomorrow. We'll do this again. Maybe we'll just do a straight Q&A tomorrow. I'll, of course, have some things that I like to talk about, maybe to teach you something new. If I did teach you something new today, maybe you'll give me a New Year's present. Hit the subscribe button there, and if not, that's cool too. You know, just come back tomorrow. We'll be here. Adios.